Hi, everyone. I am Donna Reed, and this is Donna Reed Talks Voice. And I will be working today with Maria. Maria, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, I am Maria. I am from Chile and now I live in France from 2008 and I work with Donna since 2012. I guess, yes, with a little pause for 2 or 3 years and I really enchanted with all of this knowledge that Cornelius and you are spreading to the singer worlds and changing lives. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Thank you. So let's just get going and we'll see where you're at and what we want to do today. So, you know how I love to start. So, do the exhale and then do the inhale and just get the air flowing. While you are doing that, I'm going to talk to my audience. You'll see me start this way many, many times because I just like to get the air flowing. When you breathe this way, the rib cage expands, the air is allowed to come in, then the air just lets itself go, and then it comes in again and it goes. You have the in and out, and you have, more importantly, the mobility of the rib cage because a lot of people sing and their rib cages get very rigid. Now, not that when you sing it's going to be doing an accordion thing, but it just needs to be mobile. It doesn't need to support the voice. It doesn't need to do that. And when we start by just getting the air going in and out, and you notice how Maria is doing it on her own time, which is wonderful. You don't have to be too fast. You don't have to be too slow. The exhale could be longer than the inhale. The inhale could be longer than the exhale. Doesn't matter, just to get the air moving and get things going. Excellent. Wonderful, Maria. Thank you so much. And now I know the way we're taping, it's morning, well, afternoon my time, but it's later in the evening your time, which
Yeah,
means you're probably a little bit more warmed up. It's not like morning voice or anything like that. But let's see where you're at.
yeah,
We're going to start with an ooh, and we're going
yeah.
to go up here and then come down, legato. See what happens. Good. Good. Wonderful. Good beginning. I'm going to stay on the head voice side because, again, any of you who've watched my YouTube channel, and Maria knows this, we almost always start with the head voice because we need to get the chords thinner. We need to get that little cricothyroid muscle going, and which stretches the vocal cords, which helps you with higher pitches. And we need to kind of warm up that part of the voice. So we're going to stick with the head voice. We're going to stick with the ooh, but we're going to do it with a staccato all the way down. Now I'm going to have you do this again. Two things. Um, be careful you're putting your head up a little bit. So
Too
don't
much.
put your head up. Yeah, too much.
Yeah,
So just keep your head straight. And actually, you're working a little bit too hard.
yeah,
So again, I can see your body is really too much.
yeah.
You don't need to work so hard. It's a little more
Okay.
subtle. Now, that doesn't mean take away all the energy. It just
Yeah.
means don't work so hard. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You see, and the other one sounded okay. It wasn't like as if it didn't sound good, but this one is better and it's easier. So we can't
Yes.
always go by the aesthetic sound of it. We have to go not only by the sound in terms of what the aesthetic is that you want for a particular piece of music. That's a separate issue. But when we're working this way, we listen functionally. And functionally, even though the other one aesthetically sounded good, functionally there was something a little pushed about it. So
Yes.
then we say, oh, okay, well, let's fix the function. And then eventually, when you fix the function, you get a better aesthetic. And then you also have the freedom to get the aesthetic you want, depending on what it is you're singing.
Yes.
Now, that was brilliant. Now we're going to go into the chest voice. Ga, ga, ga.
Ga 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 ga. Ga 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 ga. Ga 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 ga. Ga 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 ga.
Good. And we don't need to go lower than that, although I know you can. I can hear that you can. Now we're just going to see where you're at. So plain old ah, and then back down.
Ah. 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 Ah.
Now, those are very interesting. I'll tell you what happened. What happened is that on the way up, those three were very much more dominant chest voice. Then it went to a head voice. And then on the way back down, they were a little bit more mixed with the head voice.
Yes.
So it was kind of chest voice, chest voice, chest voice, head voice, mixy, mixy chest, and then more chest voice. Now it was much smoother coming down than on the way up. Now there's nothing wrong with those sounds; those were good sounds, except for the last one that was, I think it was this key, where that 1/5 was a little funny, but that's a little detail. We're not going to worry about it. So what we need to do is, if you're going to have that more aggressive chest voice, then you would need to make that a little bit more mixy belty. But we're not looking for that right now because I know where you want to be. So you want to be a little bit more on the head voice side. So we're going to start from the top. And then
Okay.
what I want you to do is you're going to let these guys mix. Don't just think head voice, but let them mix with maybe a little tiny bit more chest voice, and you definitely end up with chest voice on the bottom. So notice those mixes and what happens. Exactly, exactly. And that's a much smoother scale, and it's
Yes.
mixing in a different way. Careful on that one. There was a little push or something at the end. There was a little something not quite right at the end. I will fix it for you. You're going to do the same ah, but then end with the bottom one with a staccato. Exactly. Do you notice the difference?
Yes. Yes.
Now I'm going to point out for my listeners what the difference was. The bottom one went slightly under the pitch. So that tells me, and again, this usually happens with a lot of people, but I know you. So that tells me that something got a little tight in your body. So by the end of the phrase, something pushed out that last little note just a little bit, which kind of cut off the air and made it go under the pitch. So instead of just saying that to you and saying, oh, be careful about your body, which I could do, what I did is I made it a staccato. When you do a staccato, then those abdominal muscles can't grab. So then I set up the exercise so those muscles couldn't grab on you. Then they didn't grab, and then it was in tune. So on the next one, I'm going to have you just be careful on your own that you're not grabbing on that bottom when you're not pushing the air out too hard, even
Okay.
though it's going into a little bit of a chest voice.
Okay.
You see, it's a little, woo, don't know where to go, right?
Yes. Yes.
That's all right. You know what? I'll go back to having you do a staccato.
Okay.
And that shows you where to go with it, right?
Yes. Yes.
Good. Now, do you notice a difference in how it feels, or it's very similar?
No, it's different.
Okay.
It's different not only in the sound, but in the it feels more difficult, the other.
Okay, and this one's easier.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
And that's a very good point. And this is why I always ask my students, how does it feel? Does it feel constricted? Is it easier? Is it not easier?
Yes.
Because if you're not sure about a sound, if you're not sure about, am I doing the right sound? Is that the right thing? The first question you ask yourself is, how easy is it? Is it
Yeah.
really easy, or am I struggling? Am I struggling a little bit? Am I struggling a lot? And if you say to yourself, oh, that's easy, even though you may not like the sound, there's something right about it. So then
Yeah.
we can always change it and get a different aesthetic and all of that. But that's the very first question we ask ourselves. Is that easy? And it's very difficult to hear the right sound when we're on the inside doing it.
Yes.
So the first question, as I said, you could say, oh, is that easy? Oh, okay, well, that was easier. All right, then it must be right. Now we're getting in a tricky area here. We're getting, and I'm letting you know that's the middle C. So we're getting in this area. How much chest voice is going to want to be there? How much head voice? What is the mix going to be? You just do an ah staccato on the bottom. See where your voice wants to go. Now you hear that sound, which I like a
Yes.
lot.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go up
Okay.
and end with the staccato as well.
I start with staccato.
Yes, start with staccato and then you end with staccato.
Ah, ah, ah.
See, I like what that did.
Yes.
Yeah, very smooth. The scale going up was a very good head voice that matched the bottom chest voice. Let's
Yes.
see where this goes.
Ah, 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 ah.
Yeah, well, okay, what didn't you like?
The bottom note, the second bottom note, it wasn't freer as the first one.
Okay, now what I heard sounded fine, but I'm glad you pointed that out because I saw the look on your face.
Yeah.
So it sounded good, and I didn't hear that it was shutting down, but you felt that maybe it was shutting down, so let's fix it. Um, do it again. When you come back down to the bottom, know that because of the note we're on, it might be more head voice on the last note than what you start with. So
Okay.
because you start with a chest voice, it goes to some kind of a head voice mix that might influence the bottom note and make it be a little bit more head voice, which is okay. So allow that to happen.
Ah, 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 ah.
Well, that was fine. It was definitely chest voice, but it was a little bit of a different mix, right?
Yes.
And how did it feel?
Um, like I was trying to get some chest voice in there.
But did it feel like anything was tight or did it feel free?
No, it feels free.
Okay, then fine. It doesn't matter, even though I said it
Yeah.
might be more head voice, it doesn't matter if there was more chest voice.
Yeah. So
Do you see?
it surprised me.
There you go. There you go. And the reason I said initially allow it to be more head voice was simply because I wanted you to allow for something different to happen. So again, going back to one of the things that I preach over and over again, allow it to be different all the time.
Yeah.
But now let's say this were a piece of music and you start with that chest voice, but because of the piece of music, you wanted to come back to that same chest voice. So that's an option as well. When we're doing the exercises, unless I say something specifically, you just let it go wherever. But let's say you want that same chest voice. So then when you come back down, you actually have to be a little bit more aggressive with it. So you start with the ah, 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 and then just be a little bit bigger with the bottom, but without pushing it. So that you
Okay.
really hear in your ear, you want the same chest voice you started with.
Okay. Ah, 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 ah.
Almost. Wasn't
Almost.
quite the same chest voice, right?
No, no, it was
So
the same.
again, and the only reason I'm playing with this, and there's nothing wrong with the sound. Every sound that you've made there, there's nothing wrong with them. But I'm trying to make it so that what you sing is what you want to sing.
Yeah.
You see, so again, maybe a little bit more aggressive when you come back down. Now,
Yeah.
aggressive doesn't mean you push harder.
Yeah.
Aggressive doesn't mean you do anything more than the staccato. You just hear the sound that you want.
Yes. Yeah. Ah, 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 ah.
Yes, that was closer. You
Yes.
see?
Yes. Yes.
Now, and again, that was just for the sake of you're doing what it was you wanted to do.
Yes.
All right, now forget about all of that and let's see where we're at. So, ah, throw it away, 2 octaves down, and see where your voice wants to go.
Okay.
Now, I think that was lovely, but unfortunately, the sound got a little funny. So on the audio, the sound cut off a little bit. I think we could hear that that was a very good note. I'm going to have to make you do it again and see what happens. Everything you did was fine. Don't change anything you did, and
I
let's see
try.
where we're at. Okay, again, I'm pretty sure it was absolutely fine. The audio settings are just a little funny and we didn't hear it. I'm going to not have you do it again. Both times it was good, but let me ask you, how did it feel?
It feel easy.
Great, it sounded that way. And visually, we could see the same thing. We could see that looks really easy.
Yeah.
Good, 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 good. Now, I'll tell you what I want you to do. What key did we decide that we're going to do? You're going to do the Ave Maria. This is the Bach Uno Ave Maria.
F.
In the F. Okay, let me find that here. Okay. Now, do you find one part of the piece more difficult than the other parts? Or is there one part that
Uh,
you particularly want to look at?
but I think the higher note always,
Okay.
because the other I think if I don't think too much in technique, vocal technique when I'm singing, I I I feel better. So
I'm glad you said that because yes, that is very, very true. When we're doing these lessons, when I do my lessons with everybody, I make everybody think what's going on here, what are you doing there, what's the sound, what's this, what's that, what's that. And then when you sing the music, you just sing it. Now, if there's a technical problem, we work on that.
yeah,
Once we work on it, then we say, okay, we forget about that, and then we sing. Now, I'm glad you mentioned that. We're going to do we're going to do right from the nunc, okay? So the
okay,
right? We're going to do it from there. Just see what happens. Let it not work. Just sing it. If something goes funny, I will fix it. Okay? Just right from there, see what happens.
Okay. Non che in ora mortis nostri.
And how did that feel? And how did you like the way it sounded?
Um, it feels easy. It feels easy since we
See,
worked it before.
it's a little unfair, let's say, because yes, we had a lesson before, not today, but what was it, last week or the week before,
Yes,
and we worked out the problem with this,
yes,
and it worked just fine. So it's a little unfair. It's not like I had to do anything just now.
yes,
But again, just so that my listeners understand, we didn't hear the very top note. We heard the beginning of it, but we didn't hear all of it just because of an audio thing that happened. But that's okay. We're not going to worry about that. We can obviously see that it was quite easy, and we could hear that it went very well. Now, when you sang that, I'm guessing, but you could answer the question. Did you just think the music and sing it?
yes,
Exactly.
yes.
And
With this little tiny thought on feeling it or thinking it great, as if I was singing the B.
okay,
You
all
know
right.
what we talk about?
Yes. So again, a little bit of
Just that.
background for my listeners. When we worked on this before, Maria thought that maybe she could do it in the higher key, which would be a B natural instead of the A natural. We did it and it was okay. And I said, I don't like the way the B sounds. Let's try it in the lower key. And one of the things that happens is Maria's thought, and a lot of people's thought is, well, I'm a soprano. I should do it in the highest key that it's written in. And I said, no, do it in the key that sounds best. And maybe, and she's definitely a soprano, maybe in the future will you choose the B, but maybe not. Maybe we'll always like it in this key. So once we worked at it in this key and she did it, I said to her in the other lesson, approach it as if you're singing the B natural. Because then what happens is that with the A, because it wasn't as high, there was a little lack of energy, there was a little lack of, whatever. It's like, oh, it's only the A. Okay, but she had to energize it like the B. Now, there may be somebody where I would do the very opposite. I wouldn't say that, but for her, this is what I needed to say, and this is what worked best for her. So wonderful. Thank you for helping me demonstrate that to all of my listeners. And that sounded amazing. And I thank you for participating.
I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, Donna, for everything. It was
Thank you.
a great
Thank you.
experience. Thank you.
Thanks for watching Donna Reed Talks Voice. If you have any questions for me about this episode, or if you'd like to join me on a future episode, please visit donnareedtv.com and click Contact.